Greetings and welcome back to Switched to Linux. Seeing if the cat woke up or not. I don't know. Didn't see him. Well, anyway, today we're going to do a live look at ZorinOS 15. This just came out a couple of days ago. There's a lot of different people looking at it and saying, hey, this is a really great desktop. And we'll have a look at it, and I'll kind of do some pros and some cons here as we dive on in. But before we do that, let's see who is joining us for the live show today. We have Alex, greetings. ZorinOS, hello there. We got Mark, hello Mark. We got Lucas Workster, greetings. Unchained 01, you have been released, all right. KWell 66, greetings to you. Triticus, hello there. I am doing well. I hope you are as well. Ricky, greetings there, Ricky. There's a new video on Ricky's channel. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master. Check him out. Gnostic, hello there. Clockrifkin, hello there. Harvey, greetings. Hank, how's it going there? Does that mean you will be sitting on Kitten's desk then? No, I have my hard metal chair here. Keep an extra office chair in here for guests, and it's nice and hard, but it'll do. How can I possibly disturb this sleeping kitty over here? I don't know. Every time I got up today to go grab some coffee or whatever else, I come back and the cat's in the chair. I finally just moved the chair over, got the other chair, and said, all right, fine, you win. You get the chair. So we've been fighting over the chair today. Hello, Thomas Holt. Greetings. Loopy, how's it going there? Got knockoff AirPods. All right. I hope ZorinOS is lighter. Well, I mean, it's definitely brighter. No, some of you guys have been talking about, you know, I don't really care about the themes as long as it's usable. I don't prefer flat themes if it's a choice, but, you know, I don't really get hung up over what's in the themes and things like that. So with that being said, before we actually get into the recorded video, I'm going to record a part. We'll do a little bit before and a little bit afterwards, just a little bit of shameless promotion, I guess. I do have a new book that was just released, and actually the ebooks seem to have already rolled out almost everywhere. I have the complete links are on my one website, but for you guys that are interested in the easiest ways to pick it up, Amazon has the print and the paperback copies. Audiobooks are still coming. We're still in the middle of producing those. And if you are not an Amazon guy, PayHip is a great place to find all of my audio and ebooks as well. And that is also international, so both of those are international. The other thing is I do have one of the last books I released is free right now on Amazon Kindle. So if you do use a Kindle, you want to get a free ebook, just go on in and grab a copy. That is going to be free until June 16th, I think, which is Sunday. Sunday it'll be free until. So I'll go ahead and do that shameless promotion once again at the end of the video, but let's go ahead and jump on into Zorin. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, Zorin 15 has come out recently, and we want to have a look at it. And this is a distro that I've looked at in the past, and I never really recommended it, despite it was easy to use. For the one primary reason is that it was a distro that's always come with Wine pre-installed, and you should never install Wine on a distribution out of the box. That's somewhere between the last time I looked at it, which I don't remember what version that was, and now 15. Wine is no longer installed by default. So, hey, that's good. There are a few other little things in here, though, that I put a little warning tag on, but not enough to say don't ever use it. Just some things to think about. Now, before we dive in, also, doesn't matter which distro you use. It really doesn't. Find something that works for you. The reason I do these reviews is so that you can get a chance to see what the various options are out there in case you're having problems or you're looking to switch to Linux. Wow, to Windows, no. In case you're trying to switch to Linux, just to give you a variety of different things to look into. And Zorin has always been one of these that makes it's a very good system to switch from because they have Mac clone modes and Windows clone modes built into it. And if you pay a little extra, you can get even more advanced themes built in. So over at their website, which is ZorinOS.com, we can get the information. I do notice a few things out of the box. This is a EU company and they're running afoul of GDPR. This is not a GDPR cookie notice. And there's actually some other things that they do in here that that make me scratch my head. But ultimately, the system that they're coming out with a lot better text. Since the last time I looked at their system, they used to say, oh, you can run Windows programs on here, which isn't always true because you can't run all Windows programs on a Linux with Wine. So I'm very happy to see that they have downplayed the Wine. They've downplayed that. They're not installing it by default, and that for me is a huge win. I got, though, down here, of course, resistant to viruses, which is true. Rock solid and reliable based on Ubuntu. It is good. So you can get the traditional version, which is based on GNOME. It is a highly modified GNOME, completely different than the GNOME you might be used to. You also can get the light version, which is based on XFCE. This is an interesting statement down here, though. Privacy, your data belongs to you. ZorinOS doesn't collect sensitive personal data. So advertisers and governments can't spy on your activity. Because it is open source, anyone can view its source code and ensure its security. It also comes with a firewall so you can stay safe. This made me stop and look at this and go, what was going on? So I went over to the privacy policy on ZorinOS. And a lot of this privacy policy is just the basic things that you'd find on any website. You know, hey, we use analytics. Hey, we have cookies, things like this, all of this kind of stuff. But we do have this line. It collects information different ways from our website's software, including ZorinOS. So I read through this privacy policy. Like I said, most of this is just the basic stuff that you would expect. Hey, obviously they collect data if you create an account. Obviously they collect data if you sign up for a newsletter. Obviously they collect data if you make payments. All of these are things that don't really bother me. They just deal with third-party stuff. But the thing when you get down here, we have online usage and logs, visiting the websites, of course. This is basic information, all related to that. But down here, the last two items deal with the operating system. So error reports contains an anonymous unique identifier. This is nothing specifically new. You can choose not to send error reports. But this one here is something that I would like to see this indicated on the installation, have the ability to install or deinstall this. So when you are using ZorinOS, your computer occasionally sends us a ping. And this, by the way, is not unique to Zorin. A few other different distros do this. I think Ubuntu does by default as well. It includes anonymous unique identifier for your computer. This is part of that fingerprinting that I make a big deal of, saying, you know, activists, journalists, people in high sensitive jobs should not be using anything that runs these types of anonymous pings, because that can identify your computer. It can identify a variety of different things, even though, oh, it's just a unique identifier. That unique identifier is enough to say that is this computer. We can confirm it was on the internet. That sounds a little tinfoil hatty, but it is worthy of consideration. You can remove this package, ZorinOS Census, from the computer, and it will stop doing that. I would really like to see this displayed in the distribution before I would actually be comfortable recommending it to anybody. Now, as far as the release notes of this one, they did increase the GNOME shell to 3.30. I'm not sure why they didn't use 3.32. It might just be because it's based on Ubuntu 18.04, and I just don't know if that has 3.32. I haven't been following the development or not. That's probably the reason why. They do have this new application called Zorin Connect. So Zorin Connect is very much like the KDE Connect application, where you can sync phone notifications, browse photos. This is something that I don't like, is that the only way they're giving you this information is on the Google Play Store. Well, if you're not a person who uses the Google Play Store, you got to go hunt. It does turn out this application is on F-Droid, so you can still get it from F-Droid. You don't have to get it from the Google Play Store. I would like to see in their release announcements that you can get the application other places than the Google Play Store. That would be very, very handy. We do have a new desktop theme, which is bright, white, and flat. That may or may not be your thing, but they also have this new setting, and we're going to talk about this new setting when we get into the OS. They have a new setting that will adapt throughout the day. It'll basically shift based upon, you know, is it morning, is it afternoon, is it twilight, is it evening? It's going to shift the color hues. There's something interesting about that I'm going to point out when we get there. And then, of course, they have a variety of layouts. So the touch layout is very much like the Mac for if you're running this on some type of tablet-y type thing. They did redesign some apps. So LibreOffice now by default runs that horrible ribbon crap that Microsoft Office uses. I mean, that's the setting in LibreOffice. So they've just toggled that setting on. That's not a big deal at all. They did include in this one flat packs. So now Zorin will include snaps and flat packs out of the box. So that is good. And then there's just a few other little minor improvements as well. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the Zorin operating system itself and have ourselves a quick look about what we are going to get. Okay, so we are running this test inside of a virtual machine, so keep that in mind. It does seem to run very snappy, which generally is what I find is something we get inside of GNOME 3.30 and higher. That doesn't bother me at all. Like I said, though, while it is based on GNOME 3.30, it is a completely different theming. So here is our login screen. We can click down in here. We can go Zorin, or we can go Zorin with Wayland if we want to. So let's just go ahead and log on into Zorin. And it should give us a good full screen. And it is a very attractive desktop out of the box. I did not make any adjustments to this. I installed it and I ran updates on it. So we're looking at this exactly as you would install it. So by default, we get a modern Windows type theme. We have a menu here that is a start menu type feel to it. So we can click into these individual settings and access the variety of different tools. We have our basic account folders over here, software settings, activities. Let's see which settings panel this is. There's two different settings panels. So this is our main settings panel. There's also a Zorin appearance, which you can see a link to it right here. Okay, we also have these guys here are more or less your pinned applications, and then everything else is fairly standard. So what we actually want to look at specifically is, let's start by going into the Zorin appearance. So inside of our Zorin appearance, this is one of the things that basically Zorin is Ubuntu with this layout panel. This is really one of those few things that really sets it seriously apart from Ubuntu. Hey, we have flat packs and we have this nice panel. Admittedly, though, this panel is very nice. For a new user coming to Linux from Windows, this is the type of thing that can really make the difference. All right, so if I want to turn on a variety of icons on the desktop, they are right here available, so I can do that. I'm not sure why they stack on top of each other. Probably because the desktop icons inside of the GNOME 3.30 have not classically been all that great. Since GNOME has been pulling desktop icons off, it's been a patch job putting it back on. We can enable animations. We can toggle the minimize, maximize buttons over here. There's not a maximize on this window here, but there are on any other basic window. So you can see that we have this setting over here. All right. We also, though, have the ability to switch to a more traditional layout. So these guys now, instead of being like pinned, now they are like a quick launch bar, and all of our applications spread out over here. Everything else is pretty much the same. And we have this layout over here, which will turn the thing kind of into a Mac type view. So there it goes. It does appear to be quite a bit clunkier. In other words, what I mean by clunkier, not the functionality, but you can see that this thing's just kind of hovering up above. It doesn't blend seamlessly in like like some other systems would, but you know, we have the options at least. Now, if you were to pay for the pack, you get more themes in there, so you can make some adjustments. You also can change all your highlighting colors like this, which is actually a very nice way to just do some basic adjustments to the system. And then we can go with the light mode or with the dark mode options. Now, the one mode, this center mode here, is the one that that toggles your ability to change it throughout the day. When we click on this, it actually wants you to turn on your location services. So this functionality needs location services to be enabled in order to set this. I don't really like that. So I don't really care for all of this, you know, red light and blue light and all this stuff anyway. So this isn't a feature I would use, but it just raises those questions. You know, why can't I just toggle some settings and do it automatically? Now, we also have these guys down here, and you'll notice as I pulled that down, if you select any of these, you can't really go back to what that was initially. It's like, oh, how do you do that? Well, you actually clear that by coming back and re-clicking on these. That resets those. So that wasn't entirely clear at first. We do have, you know, different shell themes and things like this we can pick from. So if you want to go back to the old 95 look, yeah, look at that bad boy. That's not really 95 look. This is way too stylish for 95. I mean, come on. All right, we also have our fonts. Nothing special in here. You can just set your different fonts and your font sizes. And then our panel, we can turn it to the top, we can turn it to the bottom, and we can adjust the size of the panel here. I think that the panel by default is a little bit too big. Let's go with 32. Here is activities buttons. So this guy here will give you kind of like your Mac type mode. This is your basic GNOME type activity button, or you can do your show desktop button, which is going to minimize. I think it's going to minimize your windows. I did not actually test that. Let's see if that minimizes windows or if that just throws them all out of the way. All right, so there we are. Now let's hit this button and then pull one of these back up. So yeah, it does look as though that does minimize all buttons. It doesn't just throw your windows out of the way. All right, so we have the auto hide ability, so we can do that. One of the things that I noticed is that inside of this mode here, there is no way to separate the panel from the status bar, which is something I think some people might be looking for. My guess is that that is going to be a feature that you're going to find inside of those extra themes if you actually buy the system. So that is kind of what we get there. Everything else is pretty much GNOME. It's styled nicely. It's not my desire, this type of look, but I'm okay with it. I'm not bothered by the theme enough to think that it sucks. We have some basic wallpapers here. There's probably going to be some Zorin specific ones as well, but we do have some other nice wallpapers in here to pick from. That is entirely too bright. My apologies for blinding everybody. There we are. There's a nice little one. All right, everything in here is just going to be your basic GNOME settings, so we're not going to go over anything in here. As far as our applications, out of the box, we get some of the basic applications. There's the new to-do list. There's weathers. We have maps inside of, well, okay, I guess we're booting up Office. Inside of our games, we just have a few basic games installed. Graphics, we have GIMP, Libre Draw, Simple Scan. All right, so here is Libre Draw. You can see that we have our panels set up here with this ribbon format. Don't let that be a reason to not like the thing. You actually can always come in and set that back. I got to remember exactly how, but what we need is we need our menus. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think I actually talk about that in a video, how to toggle these settings up there. I'm not remembering off the top. It has to do with we need to get our entire menu up across the top, and I think it's this menu here. There we are. So there's your standard toolbar there. So if you want to bring your standard toolbar back, you can do that. So that will apply to this. It is very bright. It's too bright for me. So I would definitely, if I were using this, I'd have to do a lot of theming. We do actually have the full LibreOffice suite. That's something not all Linux distributions have by default. Most of them do not have, like they don't have databasing by default. Admittedly, not a lot of people use it. They do use Evolution for the email, and the Evolution on this build actually is already set up to sync with a Microsoft Exchange. So if that is a something you need is that Microsoft Exchange, then this might be something you might want to look into. Sound and video, we have Bersaria, PTV, Cheese, and system tools. So we do have the full suite of system tools, which is very nice. Here's our Zorin Connect, and then our utilities. We have everything there. So overall, what is my general thought on the distribution? Let's have a look at our system resources real quick. So we're using 1.6 gigs of memory, but you can see even in a virtual machine, this is very responsive. It is being a pretty nice distribution. So what's my overall thought on ZorinOS right now? Well, a lot of benefit comes from the fact that they're no longer installing Wine by default. That for me was the deal breaker in the past, because to sit there and say this thing is, this thing is much more secure, and then to install Wine on default, well, you're just installing the ability for a Windows virus to run. And yeah, I realize there's some containerized differences, but why run the risk unless you absolutely need to install it? Can you still install it? Absolutely. So that is a good thing. On the bad end, I don't like how it's starting to do the automated pings. They're not telling us, if you don't read that privacy policy, you don't know it's doing that, and that might be something you want to tell people about. As far as the general usability, I wouldn't really have a problem. If somebody says, I want to switch to Linux, I'm not super duper concerned about the privacy stuff, I'm not a high risk person, I would say, this is certainly one that you might look into. It has the ability to do just enough system settings. It's GNOME, but it's a little bit of a different GNOME. It has a lot of tools. It's going to have a lot of your familiar layouts out of the box. Now, would I wipe my system and run this and go, this is the latest, greatest new distro? No. If you're in the middle of shopping for distro, definitely check it out. But if what you are already using is perfectly working for you, don't bother throwing a monkey wrench into the thing and installing something else. And that's going to be the advice I'd give you on any distribution. We don't need to keep jumping. We need to find something that works for us, that works for our workflow, and stick with it. So there's my initial thoughts and my analysis of ZorinOS, particularly for a new user. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. All right, let me shut this bad boy down. All right, let's see. Right, let's see. ZorinOS, one of the first distros actually used. If it does, ZorinOS, maybe one Plasma spin are both going to be the safe then. Huh? What are my books about? I am a Christian author, so if you're not interested in that general worldview, you may not be interested. However, that holiday one, the holiday book I just released is about, it traces the myths and the legends and the real origin stories of the major holidays, and talks a lot about how holidays have been co-opted by consumerism, and has a call to return to what holidays are supposed to be about. The one that is free right now, this is a Old Testament book study on the doctrine of sanctification. So that's actually the first of a series of books where I'm doing the books through some of the Old Testament kings and relating the principles in those to the New Testament. So those are what the books are about. Let's see. What do you think of the Zorin workflow style? Is it as good as Mint Cinnamon? It seems to be fairly comparable, although because it's based on GNOME, my guess it's going to be a little bit more sluggish. Cinnamon is not sluggish at all once it gets up and running. GNOME always has a sluggish feel, even if you set it up just to look like Windows. I still feel it's a little bit more than that. Not sure why Wine just comes. Sure why, but Wine just comes with the paid version. Oh boy. That's exciting. No, okay, one was core back in 12. Yeah, I remember last time I looked at it, it had wine in it, and I haven't looked at it for a while. Installing ZorinOS 15 on my test bench PC as we speak, watching a live stream. Awesome. Well, let me know what you think about it, Mr. Tinfoil. I love your hat, man. Okay. All right. Zorin was as good as mint. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I don't know. Hello, Paul. Greetings to you. Unless they just backported wine into ZorinOS, meaning it lacks the wine applications menu. That's possible, but they've dropped the language about it as well, and that's it. No, I do not have the Zorin Ultimate Edition. That is the light, the Core Edition is what it's called. Paid the $40 for the Ultimate package because I wanted it. Very good, very cool. Actually used ZorinOS on my PC. It became buggy and slower. I switched to Ubuntu. Okay, tried Zorin 12, and like I said, wine was full setup. Is not a magic bullet. Yeah, wine is not a magic bullet. The cookie dialog notice? No. No, it is not. To be GDPR compliant, you have to have the ability to opt out of any cookie that is not required. That is a requirement of GDPR. That's why I hate that policy, because cookies are too easy for the user to control. I can set my browser to accept them and delete them at the end of the session. I can set my browser to do that. I find that GDPR, except for the cookie policy, is good. The cookie policy part needs to be dropped from GDPR because I have full control over what the cookies are doing. But that is not a GDPR cookie compliant thing. To do that, there's essential and non-essential cookies. Like analytics tracks are considered non-essential. To be GDPR compliant, I technically would have to have my website. I would have to have a setting to disallow the cookies for tracking. So things like that. So that's what the difference is. Fair, wouldn't be surprised if in our software includes ZorinOS is just the place for Ubuntu stuff, just in case ZorinOS ever wants to develop things a little bit more. Yeah, probably. I need to update the privacy policy again, let everyone know about the change. So have a unique identifier, they should have it just parts like NVIDIA GeForce. That could do it. I'm a minimalist kind of guy, so for me, it's just too full of applications I wouldn't use. Zorin Connect program based on KDE Connect and GS Connect. It also can be downloaded from F-Droid. Yes, thank you. All right, unique identifier probably means MAC address code. Well, no. Usually, like if it's the same type of thing Ubuntu does with like Popcorn specifically. It assigns a random generated code. It's not directly tied to, if it were tied to your MAC address of your system, that would be a huge, huge identifier. A MAC address is considered personally identifiable information by GDPR. So what you do to get around it, like what Ubuntu has done, it's a randomly generated string, which you can actually reset. If you wipe everything out and reinstall it, it'll reset it. I think OS back when the mouse setting was not meant for a high DPS mouse. Yep. Should add F-Droid as an alternative. I absolutely think they should. Licensed PC tech for 30 years. Love new stuff. Running a beta version of Microsoft WinCrap Pro. All right. Hello, Greece. Greetings there. How's it going there? Jokes aside, ZorinOS, so seriously, the poor guy shouldn't have seen the response Farron on OS's back when it was white. Well, okay, Farron, I was one of the ones that commented on the white. It wasn't the fact your OS was white. It was the fact your OS had no borders. You couldn't tell where a windows ended and where another window began. If two windows overlapped, they completely bled into each other. There was no border. That's what needed to be fixed most of all. But yeah, it is a little bit bright. I'll give you that. But that's what my issue was with your color. It wasn't the fact it was white. It was the fact that there was no distinction from one window to the other. Everyone watching, hit that like button. Well, thank you, Unchained. Thank you all the way. Where do you go to learn Linux in more detail? You know, for me, it's I learned Linux components as I need something done. So like, you know, I know how to write little simple scripts for command line tools because I found myself needing to do a lot of batch process images and audio and things like that. And so I could open up, you know, the application, open, save, close, open, save, close, open, save, close. And it's like makes you want to go hurt yourself. But with these command line tools, you can write a simple for script. It's going to grab every file in the directory and process it through the command. Way easier to use. Okay. Realizing people hated ZorinOS's white theme too much. Yep. Yep. Hello, Pizza. Greetings. What's going on, my man? So RAM usage, it was 1.6 gig is what it was. Zorin 95, though, of course, they made the nostalgia theme. Yep. Why not? Let's see. Is it possible to use a forked version of paper? I don't know. 104 watching. Yeah, we got 100 right this second. Greetings, everybody. How's it going there? If you're new to the channel, go ahead and like and subscribe and comment and all that fun stuff. Know how to activate ZorinOS look in LibreOffice. Yeah, you need to go, first it is, you have to have one of the more recent versions. I forget exactly which one. It's like, I think it might be 6.2. And then inside of that, let me find that. Now, I'm not running 6.2 on this computer. I probably should upgrade LibreOffice on this computer because this computer, LibreOffice, does not always run right. Okay. And then what you want to do is if you have the right version, then you want to come up into your view and user interface, and there are these toolbars over here. So you can see here we have the single toolbar, we have the standard toolbar, things like that. In 6.2, you're going to have another one which is going to give you the ribbon look to it. So that's how you do it. So update your LibreOffice to a more recent version, and then it's under that view user interface. Okay, let's see. Zorin versus Mint, go. I find that Linux Mint runs a lot better because Cinnamon is infinitely lighter than GNOME. While they use a similar amount of RAM, the RAM usage isn't the entire factor as to how snappy a system is. Now, if you were to use Zorin Lite, which runs XFCE, that might run a little bit snappier. But still, I think that because of the tool set, because of the philosophy, Linux Mint has a general philosophy where they do not want to collect any data. So for me, I'm definitely going to say Linux Mint because no data collection at all. And I'm not a huge fan of snap packages. Mint took that out, which to me is a good thing. But, you know, other people will disagree. As far as other than those simple changes, there's not going to be a ton of differences. They're both based on Ubuntu. Almost like layout is a full GUI change and not just parts of its function. Yeah. Okay, the issue with ZorinOS is the premium version costs $40 now instead of $20. That's outrageous. One of the two reasons Farron is better. Greetings from Greece. I use the paid version for Weekend Impressed. Very good. LibreOffice really looks different on Zorin. They did do some theming stuff to it as well. I didn't like the look of it, but all that is settable inside of themes. You can change the theme inside of LibreOffice in the properties. So all that's just kind of stuff that you can do. Made white that makes it look different. Yeah, it's too white to me. I could not write on that. I could not be writing my stuff on that. It's just too bright. All right. I lost where I was on my comments, so my apologies if I miss your comments. YouTube's got this serious issue, and it sometimes likes to throw the comment bar to the very bottom. It's like, I want to scroll through and see what we got, but you know. Not see the wine category. Yes, they are not installing wine by default anymore. And to me, that is a huge advantage. Wine is in the wine cellar. That is right. And I broke all the bottles of wine. I think they changed the appearance of LibreOffice and the ribbon to make Windows users feel more at home. Probably. As I said, I understand it. I'm not bothered by that, you know. For me, those are all things that I can just toggle inside of the settings. I like Zorin, but as a privacy advocate or activist, I don't trust it at all. If you want privacy and security, use Mint or Peppermint or Debian that don't have, yep. Some good Christian rock bands. You know, I don't know. I don't care about looking specifically for Christian rock bands. My apologies, Loopy. I did not get a chance to respond to your email. What I'm talking about, though, and what I was talking about in that stream that you watched, is you have to watch the content. Find secular bands that aren't leaning towards a lot of bad content. That's what my recommendation for a Christian is. Farron, I can't click through the links right here on the chat right now. Okay. Still prefer Plasma. Yeah, I do. But Zorin includes Snap out of the box. Yep. Macintosh address. Yep. Possible to install GNOME extensions. My guess is yes, because it's based on GNOME, but I'm not 100% sure. Should to install GNOME tweaks to disable potentially clashing Zorin extensions. Okay. Mint boots too slow. Mint does boot a little slow. I mean, maybe it's Cinnamon, because my Arch system takes like 5 minutes to turn on. I don't care about that, because how many times do I turn on my computer in the day? Usually once. My Mint boots very quickly. Yeah, it depends too, you know. Explain why I don't like snaps. The entire principle on the snap is to move auditing, move away from auditing code at all and simply trust the developers. And then who are they trusting? Your developers? The big Silicon Valley tech companies. Those are the developers listed as who they're trusting. So while the source code can be audited, they're specifically not auditing snap packages, relying on a trust model, trusting the people releasing them. What ends up happening then is, well, that may be good depending on if you trust this one developer. What happens is you get so used to snaps, just like we've become so used to Android apps, and we don't think anything of just, oh, there's a snap for it, let's install it, and not realizing that they could very possibly be packaging malware into a system. And that actually happened in Snap already. And that's why I don't like it. It's because of that. Do I have a stream planned for tomorrow? Yes, I will be doing a stream tomorrow. It should be 7 o'clock, and it is a supporter stream. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but, you know, still is a Christian, better than most metal bands. All right. More affordable than they used to be, but I get it. Okay, right click and open a new window to keep it from redirecting to the chat window. Computer up, go eat a snack and come back. Yeah, there you go. How does Zorin perform on Wayland? I don't know, and I'm not going to test it on a virtual machine. The only way I would test that is on real hardware. Hello, Anarita. Greetings. Oh, Anarita, Kobu has the new book in ebook format already. I didn't expect them to show up already, but there's already like 8 distributors pushing it. In fact, let's just go ahead and do my shameless promotion once again. I do have a new book released, and I am giving away another book. So the new book, Amazon links. There's an Amazon link in there for the new book, and if you like Kindle books, the second link is the one that I'm giving away for free on Kindle until Sunday. If you happen to hate Amazon, don't want to do business with them. I do a service called PayHip. You can get any of the ebooks and audiobooks over on PayHip. So with that, actually, you can just come on over here. You can actually sort by ebooks and audiobooks. We don't have the new audiobook produced yet. It is still working, and Josiah's Sanctification cannot be sold anywhere but Amazon on ebook yet. As soon as that is allowed to be sold other places, we will be having that. But you can come on over here to PayHip and pick up any of these guys that you want. So those links are in there. Josiah's Sanctification is free on Kindle right now. So if you are looking at that, you can do that. And of course, the Kobu has the new book there as well. All right. And shameless promotion. All right. Lappy came with one and it died 3 years back. All right. The privacy and stuff like Mint comes with Spice. I really wonder how to get rid of that. Boots slow solely because of the kernel on my hardware. That could be why. Like, actually, you know, come think of it. My Mint computer, this computer actually boots in, I think, under, I mean, it's under a minute for sure. Might be under 30 seconds. My Arch system running Cinnamon, that one takes 5 minutes to boot. My laptop does take a long time to boot up. I'm wondering if, I think possibly the difference is, since the laptop started on 17 and rolled up to 18, I think that that's really when it became really slow to boot, is when I upgraded it. If I wiped the thing and then just reinstalled it directly, it probably would work a lot better. Oh yes, snaps create a mess if you want to check your system performance, system partitions. Yes, it loads every snap as a separate partition. It's weird. Not secure and almost unusable. Use Linux or Windows 10. No XP. Linux, Mint, Peppermint are good options. Yep. Possible to install Linux on an iPad. Not that I know of. Okay, just curious, go into ZorinOS again and try running wine config in the terminal, see if it works or not. Definitely check if wine is there. Let's go ahead and, I've already shut the system down. I'll go ahead and boot it up again. Let's go ahead and test that. Right. Right, fasten and I read. I'll buy it as I have a gift card. All right, yeah, it's... The next one will be out in a while. I actually don't have another book in queue right now. I'm actually just doing research. This one, the holiday one, we were working with a co-author for about 2 years before we released it. So that one was in progress. And then the I Am Not Amused was in progress. The only one that came out of the blue was the Josiah's Sanctification book. That one came out quite instantly. In fact, I wrote the book in 1 weekend. 1 week it was. Edited it in a week, and it was out very quickly. So, download the book. Can't wait to read it. Awesome. Yeah, if you like the book, actually, if you like it or if you don't like it, please leave me a review on Amazon. If you do that, because that is the best thing you can do for any small author. Best thing you can ever do is leave Amazon reviews. Nope, wine is not installed. So here is your desktop view. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this guy here. Okay, you can see here, I type in wine config, command wine is not installed. So yes, wine is not installed on Zorin Core out of the box. Thank you for that tip there, Farron. That did let us know for sure it was not installed. Go with a name brand. What came refurb? Think of Firefox having a premium subscription. I think Firefox is losing its ever-loving mind. Check ZorinOS, has Wayland session installed. Okay. Hello, Fabian. Yeah. We are late. We will be releasing an edited copy, or you can just play the stream over from the beginning. Memory usage is about 1.6 gig. Pin booting takes 2 minutes. It is unusable as soon as you see the icons. Windows 7 takes 3 minutes and an extra 5 after you see your icons. Yeah, about what I find on mine. Someone's requesting H-top or top on Zorin. Oh, I didn't see that one. So she will buy it soon, but I think for my birthday, or you're giving me one birthday, an early birthday gift. Do a review of ArcoLinux. I might have to break down and do a review of ArcoLinux sometime. Get you the info, just been lazy today. All right. Can't leave Amazon reviews because you have to spend $50 a year review. That is right. That is stupid. A few different brands: Samsung, Western Digital, Blue, Crucial, Seagate. Okay, Firefox, built for people, not for profit. Yeah, right. Then they need to stop using their user base for paid experiments. I've not looked into it a lot, but no, I would not be using a paid version of Firefox. Cheap, but I won't pay for a browser when there's so many options. Yep. What switching cam review software are you using? Is it commercial use? I'm using OBS. So yes, it is full free and open source application, so I can use it without a problem. No purchase fees. OBS, which is also cross-platform. So if you're still stuck on Windows, you can get it over there as well. ArcoLinux i3 VM. Oh, really? Do I have to go to ArcoLinux? No, I don't want to go to ArcoLinux. I don't want to go to ArcoLinux. All right. Vivaldi also works. Remember AOL? Oh, Lord, AOL? Yeah, right. How about LOL? AOL? LOL! Firefox becomes pay to use. I'll use Waterfox or Chromium. Yep. Firefox was using 7 gigs for 12 tabs, so I downloaded a Radium. Did you irradiate it? Ew. All right. Well, I think what we might need to jump off. Did I have another topic we can talk about? I'm trying to think if I did. Hey, Sleepy. Yes, Sleepy. You are late, unfortunately, my friend. When I'm thinking about wrapping this bad boy up. Just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about or discuss before we wrapped everything up here. I don't really think that there is. Majority of Linux distros, but always end up picking what I want from a Debian net install. Yep. Used to use AOL back in the day, yeah. KDE 5.16 release? Huh, really? I'm gonna have to look into this paid version real quick of Firefox. Let's have a quick gander. All right, so let's go back into the web browser view. I might do a separate video about this later. Mozilla says paid version of Firefox with premium features coming later this year. Excuse me for a moment. All right. So let's see. Mozilla, okay. Premium version, according to a new report, appeared to confirm a paid tier of browser can be ready to launch. To Beard, the premium version of Firefox is likely to include a VPN, secure cloud storage, and other subscription services such as paywalled content access. Interesting. Let's see. Mozilla has been experimenting with Proton VPN for some Firefox users for a $10 a month subscription, but Beard says the company is now considering offering some amount of free VPN bandwidth to non-paying users and a premium metered VPN service for monthly subscription. So you would get, let's see. So Mozilla currently earns money through its Read It Later and content discovery service Pocket, which is exactly why I don't recommend Pocket and I burn it with fire, which it owns, but the majority of its revenue comes from search engines used in its free browser. Okay, Beard's interview published. Okay. All right, so apparently for paying for it, you would get a VPN, you'd get VPN, you'd get cloud storage, and you'd get access to some paywalled content. All of that seems terribly expensive to me. I mean, I can get a good VPN. I mean, I have VPN affiliates, Nord and private internet access that are infinitely cheaper than $10 a month. Cloud storage, we need to stop putting data on other people's computers. People, put your data on your own computers. And paywall access to paywall stuff, that could be a selling point for some people. Not for me, but it could be a selling point for some people. Honestly, it depends on what's included in that. Perhaps as a hint, plan new Firefox launches, unveil the family of new Firefox logos designed to give a unified identity to its broadening suite of products and services that have become accessible to users who open a Firefox account. So I'm going to look into this a little bit more. It might be newsworthy. Maybe it's something we talk about in more detail on Saturday when I have a better opinion. Run out of cat treats. Nope. By the way, if you happen to come in late, I mean, the scumbag cat stole my chair, guys. I am sitting here on this hard metal chair because my cat decided to steal my chair, and it just wasn't nice of him. So so here he is sitting on my comfy office chair while I have this hard metal folding chair I'm sitting on. This cat does not know how privileged he is. I mean, give us a like for the cat, people. Let's see. Nightfarin. Is monetization sign Mozilla could be struggling? I don't know. I think Mozilla needs to remember who their audience is. The people who don't want to be tracked by Google. That's their audience. And the people who don't want to be tracked by Google don't want to be tracked by Mozilla either. When Mozilla realizes who its audience is and goes back to its core principles, then Mozilla will actually have a resurgence. Zorin is really starting to get up there in price for their ultimate version. Yeah. Okay, thinking of changing some lightweight WebKit browsers. Delete the Pocket. Don't you own the cat? The cat owns... Yeah, I don't own the cat. The cat owns me. The chair looks rough. Yes, the chair has seen better days. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and feed the kitty, and then we will go ahead and wrap this guy up. So, yes, we will end with the scumbag cat stealing my chair. Go on, stick a pie in there. Apparently he can't get one today. There we go. Ow, that was my finger. Don't eat me. Cat's trying to eat me. Are the finger looking good? Yeah, the finger looking good, are they? Yeah, of course their finger looking good. All right, guys. Let's see. Trying to figure out why Chromium uses twice as much CPU on Arcos as it does on Mint. Is it a different version? Turning into distro tube using the command line more and more. There you go. Hey, you know, command line's good. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. We will catch you guys later. And tomorrow we will be back for another stream. And have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful evening. And Sleepy, I'm sitting on a folding metal chair.